Hi, good morning. It's Christine Kretcher from Create with Christine. I am here with some live Sunday morning stamping. Thanks for tuning in, whether you are going to catch me live here in a minute or watch the replay. This morning this week I'm featuring birthday. It is my birthday in a couple days, so I wanted to go back to the annual catalog, and there's actually a couple reasons for that, but I'll get to that in a minute. So this is a super cute Happiest of Birthdays stamp set. I featured this a bunch, I think, but it's a $19 stamp set. It's in the annual catalog on page 103, and it's just a great bang for your buck, I guess. So I'm just going to do a simple watercolor wash card for you today. This is Melon Mambo with black, and then I'll show you a different way to embellish, whether you're going to be doing this for a child or a kid, and maybe you want to add a couple other things to it. So I'm going to point my camera down at my station, and we'll go ahead and get started. So just give me a minute to find myself in my feed. So here's the card we're going to make today, and there's usually a little bit of a lag, so I'll just talk for a minute. I hope you're having a good week. It's been a little bit stressful. If you're watching this live or catching the replay, it's the week of Thanksgiving 2020, one unlike probably one we'll ever have again, hopefully in our lifetimes. So we're all kind of stressed out and emotional and having to make tough decisions about gathering with our family. So I'm right there with you. This is probably going to be the only Thanksgiving where it's just the two of us. And it's been a tough decision. And then on top of that, I have, lots of other friends in my circles that are going through deaths in their families. So it's just a really hard, trying time for all of us. So that's why I wanted to do a fun birthday card today. So let me find myself here, and also, I realized that in my inner circle, I think there's at least, I have a couple other friends and friends with children that also have birthdays this week. So I figured this was just a great, simple, easy card, and then you can embellish. But really, I want to show you how to do the watercolor wash. So again, we're using the Happiest of Birthdays stamp set. This is our simple, but I'm going to show you another way to jazz it up. So let's get started and do the watercolor first. I did do one earlier, because you're going to have to let it dry. So I am using the Fluid 100 watercolor paper from the annual catalog. And actually, before I start watercoloring, let me say that I picked annual catalog merchandise to feature today because there is going to be a sale on Tuesday, which is November 24th. It's actually my actual birthday, so I was like, woohoo, Stampin' Up's having a sale for my birthday, yeehaw! But they are going to be featuring 10% off select items from the annual catalog, and there is a list of exclusions. Good morning, Janine. Thanks for tuning in this morning. There is a list of exclusions, and I'll have that information posted. Actually, I can post it today with my blog post, so you can get all the details at christinestamps.blogspot.com. But yeah, 10% off, quite a bit. Kits, stamps, paper. There is some cardstock and envelope exclusions. The Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine is not going to be on sale. So there's different things like that, but some of the things that I'm featuring today will be part of the sale. So the watercolor paper, it comes 5x7, and you get 10 sheets in the package. And then I am also going to be using the water painters. So these come in a 3-pack. So you get 3 different sizes. I'm going to be using the large flat side. The other ones, I use those for coloring a little bit here and there. And my old if you remember watercolor brushes, if you're familiar with Stampin' Up, they used to be called aqua painters. So I actually still have my old one, and I use it for sealing envelopes, which is really great right now. So I don't need to use my saliva to seal envelopes. So I'm gonna bring over my Melon Mambo ink pad. I hope I'm gonna get all this in the camera. I might need to adjust a little bit. So I'm just opening it up, and I'm gonna actually use the lid of my ink pad. And since my color dried up, I was playing around this morning, but I have my re-inker bottle, right, to add ink when my stamp set gets dry. So I'm just gonna put one tiny drop. A little bit really goes a long way. So there we go. And I'm gonna watercolor the entire piece of the 5x7 fluid paper. And this paper is super forgiving, so it really beads up the water. So on the brush, you'll see it says push, and I'm just gonna drop some water from my brush and kind of pick up. I don't want a ton. I want it to be on the lighter side because I'm gonna stamp over it. So I hope you are catching this. Actually, maybe I should just go on top here for a minute. So I'm gonna kind of make a big, wet, beautiful Melon Mambo ink mess. And then I'm just gonna pick up a whole bunch with my brush and start doing my watercolor wash. So let me tell you, I'm gonna actually cut this piece in half so there's no waste. And that's going to be what's going to go on my card. So a 5x7 piece is going to get cut down to 3.5 by 5. So you have a couple different ways of doing this. You can go side to side, top to bottom, but to me this is like super therapeutic and relaxing coloring. So I'm just going to kind of sort of wash. Oh, and I think I got black ink from my hands on my beautiful piece. So I'm just going to wash my ink onto the paper. And I actually like having a little bit of the paper showing on the edges. It kind of gives an artistic look. So if I keep it nice and light, I can go back and add some darker ink if I want to. But I like to give it more water when I'm adding the darker ink. And this is just regular tap water. There I go. Regular tap water inside. So you could go dark. You can even do water right onto your watercolor paper. Okay, so I think you get the gist of what I'm doing. Just doing a beautiful watercolor and then maybe leaving some white at the edges. Wow. As I drop my brush on my table, here's my sample. So you can see I left a lot of kind of the white or kind of more like vanilla on the edges here. And then what's going to happen is your paper is going to kind of sort of like bow in the middle, and you want to flip it over and just give it some water on the back to kind of straighten it out. So I have a friend, Diane, who has really taught me a lot about watercoloring, but also Stampin' Up. We just had on stage, and I think Sarah Douglas and her mom, Shelley Gardner, the president, and Shelley's the co-founder, they did watercoloring, so I really paid attention. So I flattened it out my back side, and I'm going to flip it over. So I'm going to actually stop because I think it looks pretty good. I could add some more down the bottom if I wanted to, but I think it looks great. I'm going to close up my ink pad. And I'm going to set this aside to dry. And I did do one earlier, and you probably want to let it dry at least a half an hour to make sure it's dry. So I did one earlier, and then I already cut it in half. So here is my half. So again, it's the original size of the watercolor paper is 5x7. So I just cut in the 7-inch side in half to 3x5. So then you have no waste whatsoever, which is really great. And now, since this is nice and dry, I can do my stamping on it, and I'm just gonna use the stamp "Wishing You the Happiest of Birthdays." So it's funny, I never used to like the large giant stamps in the catalog, And then I've kind of caught on to, hey, those are like the greatest ones to have because they really fill up the card. So I'm just going to use Memento. I will say is that I do know that Memento and StazOn black ink are both part of the exclusion list for the sale on Tuesday, this Tuesday. It's called the Merry and Bright Online Extravaganza, and it's only a one-day sale, Tuesday only. So if I can think of some of the stuff that is excluded, if I'm using it, I'll let you know. So this one, I'm going to kind of go towards one side more, and it's going to give, it's not going to stamp 100%, so onto the watercolor paper, you're going to kind of see some of the watercolor paper coming through, but I'm digging that as like the artistic look. And then what I did is I brought over, or to embellish this a little bit more, this is the original sample, so I just added a couple rhinestones, which I think this is a great simple card to share for anybody of any level. The watercoloring is super easy, so I feel like anybody could take this on with some practice. And honestly, with the watercolor paper, it's so forgiving, so you just like wash it on there and it looks great, whatever you do. So maybe you want a card for a child, or yeah, something maybe more, a little bit more whimsical. So this is going to be my black layer that's going to go behind, and you'll see what I did here is I punched out some balloons. So right from the middle of the black layer that's going to go behind, I'm going to punch out two. So this is the balloon bouquet punch, and you get the two balloons in one. And then I have a scrap of Melon Mambo, and I'm just going to punch out two balloons from this as they go flying. And what I thought I would do is maybe get my layers put together. So I think this will be fine. I am just going to put some seal, Stampin' Seal on the back of this layer. And I might need to kind of get it going a bit. I like to use mine straight up and down. So there's a tip for you. And sorry, I'm moving everything around on my table. Okay. So, and actually I was going to show you something else, but I've already adhered it down, so it's totally fine. Okay, so here are my pieces. I have 4 balloon pieces to work with, and I'm going to go onto a Melon Mambo card base. So maybe I'll do that too, so you can kind of get where I'm coming from here with how I thought I would put my balloons on. Give you a couple ideas. What's crazy is I think Stampin' Up got rid of most of the baker's twine, and I used to always use baker's twine for my strings on my balloons. So I believe in the Playful Pets suite there is a twine that has white and black maybe, and you could kind of unravel, or you could use the white and the black. It might look okay. I don't have that twine yet, so I couldn't do that, but I think this is stuck pretty well. So what I thought I would do is use, to mimic the card, I want pink on the outside and then black in the middle, and maybe do a balloon kind of coming down. And you could actually take a black marker and draw a swiggle. So maybe you want to do this before you lay it down all together, but I'm just giving you an idea of what you could do to embellish this a little bit more if you are an embellisher. I like sweet and simple, so to me this one is totally fine. And then another thing is we sell a Stampin' Chalk marker, and you can make a little, here I'll just show you really quick, like a little backward C. Just to, whoops, I don't have these adhered, so kind of like a little mark on your balloon like that. And then I did not grab my black marker, but you could, like, say, do the squiggles and then add your rhinestones and you are done. So I just wanted to come on and share a simple birthday card for you today, and happy birthday this week to some of my friends, Brenda, Alexis, and then myself. So I want to just come up and talk about the sale. So I'm just going to bring the camera back up. Oh, a couple things actually besides the sale is tomorrow is the last day to RSVP for my class. It's actually right over my shoulder. It's a 12 by 12 Christmas sampler, and tomorrow on November 23rd is the last day to RSVP. So local customers, it's $35 class, and you're going to be getting $20 in product, half of the Most Wonderful Time refill kit, and then a spool of the Real Red sheer ribbon. And then I'm going to cut out the circles, the cardstock circles, and local customers, you'll get the 12 by 12 and the 8.5 by 8.5 piece. Long distance customers, it's $45, and you'll have to supply a 12 by 12 white and an 8.5 by 8.5 red. Hi Dave, good morning. Thanks for tuning in this morning. So that's it for class RSVP for tomorrow. On Tuesday is the sale for 10% off. So let me know if you need help placing an order. For those of you that might be shopping for holiday gifts or, hey, birthday presents for people having birthdays this month or next, the all-inclusive kits are a great buy because you have everything you need to get going. And then just to remind you, it's 10% off select items. So it includes stamps, paper, ink, embellishments. So, but there is an exclusion list, and I will post that I'll post it today so you can see the list and look at it. And then if you need help Tuesday placing an order, let me know. And if you do place an order Tuesday with my November host code, it is MJTWUXNS. And if you place over $25, I'm going to send you 5 cards as a thank you from my stash. So you can drop me a note and say what type of cards you'd like to get. And if you place over $50, I'll send you 10 cards from my stash. So same thing, send me a note if you have preference, if you want thank yous or birthdays, and I'll send you a bunch from my stash. So that's it for me this week. I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving, and I'll be back next week with another project to share.